I did hear that Neo 2 has a good character creator, though. I don't know if it's amazing, but something. At least, like, especially after, you're playing, John Smith or whoever the hell the first games dude was. It's a shame that, like, the gameplay of those games doesn't appeal to me. Just the direction that they went in just doesn't work, doesn't do it for me. Because having, considering that, like, a lot of my viewership is Souls, it would be nice to have more to show. But in the meantime, like, I play a game that I'm, like, massively into, and there's, like, almost zero viewership the entire time. But there was a game called Shattered Tale of the Forgotten King. It was, like, it's an indie Souls game. It's gigantic. It's very jank. You can tell that they were stretching themselves so thin to make it work. But, like, not only was the story and the world so mysterious and interesting, it had a lot of interesting scenes. It kind of reminded me, like, how Elden Ring seems to kind of, like, you can kind of point the camera in any direction and there's a sight to see. It wasn't so concentrated and universal as it is in Elden Ring, but Shattered had those kind of, like, you walk into an area and you just look and it's just like, damn, this scene is amazing. The world was so mysterious and kind of like, it was like mixed genre, like generally kind of like futuristic, but not like, it was almost like fantasy futuristic, like the direction that Star Wars went, but more on like a technological acid trip. It's really hard to describe it. The world in that game was fucking huge. It reminded me of, it's what Elden Ring basically was trying to be, what it successfully did with its release. It was like, you started in a narrow area, obviously the narrow area in Elden Ring is very short. A narrow area for a bit that eventually opens up to a very big area with a lot of like small side dungeons and a mix of like KV catacomb stuff and legacy dungeon style stuff. So it was almost like an indie proto Elden Ring. Mechanically, it was not especially complex. A lot of the animations in combat were a little bit jank, but it played it right. The world was very interesting. The lore was really, really interesting. I like so many niche games. I don't know what it is. How many people here have played Unsighted? I thought it was somewhat well regarded, but I guess I'm wrong. I would say if you liked Hyper Life Drifter and Super Metroid and are kind of into like more indie action RPGs and Metroidvanias, like definitely check it out. I want to do another run of it at some point. So the funny thing is I've already done 2 playthroughs of it. One was like, I got the game, it was really cool, I enjoyed it a lot. The second one was for a service called Daredrop, which was like sort of like it's kind of in the vein of Keymailer, instead of receiving keys just to like try it and play it, you like receive a key to play it. Your general goal is to like collect to complete challenges. Usually like they're tied to achievements, like do one of the harder in-game achievements or whatever, but some of them are as simple as just beat the game. Others are like do some obscure thing in the game, and they vary. Like you can, they've obviously been around for a while at this point, and whenever you complete them, you submit footage of doing it and you get keys to give away to your community. So Unsighted has a Daredrop. They were part of the service or whatever, right? They were actually the first game I played for it. Many of the achievements, many of the challenges they had were a lot of stuff I've already done, right? But it gave me an excuse to go through the game again and go through it at a different order and go through it faster, which is nice. The other thing was that I got the true ending. In doing that, I got a chance to dig way deeper into the game, and I appreciate it more than I already did. Usually it's like sometimes you can get keys for the game you're playing as well as like other stuff for the same publisher. I've been kind of like eyeballing what other games might show up on that service for me to try. There was one that came out recently, like Scorn, I think. I was kind of eyeballing it because like if it's like a light horror game closer to like Soma or something, I'd be interested in it. I already played through Withering Rooms. They're working on a New Game Plus, and I'm interested. If nothing else happens, I'm probably going to go into New Game Plus in that game. That game is good. It's it's obviously in development. It's obviously jank. it's a relatively it's early access, but it's a proper beta. But it's unique. I would say anybody who wants to play Dark Souls and like the early Resident Evil games, along with like Darkwood or some stuff in that vein, like Withering Rooms is like the perfect junction point between all of those. And it's like I haven't played a game that plays like that. It's got lots of scary elements. It's got interesting story. It's got some interesting lighthearted moments. Mechanics are really nice. Lots of like planning and build diversity, and it's semi-roguelite. You have some control over it, but you generally you drop all your shit on death. So it's like over time you can mitigate against that. You get the ability to like remember items so that you don't lose them.